Welcome to Lucky Dog Sim Racing League. Premier driving force in the racing community, powered by determination, skills, and honor. Join us today for superior racing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to... Oh, we have a little bit of an echo here. Figure that out real quick. Alright, so doesn't look like we have an echo. That's just me. So there we go. That's alright. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Lucky Dog Sim Racing here. Gen 6s at Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Got a 100-lap feature for you. I am William, back after, I want to say, about a 1-week hiatus. Really hurt my finger last week. It caused me to miss Tuesday's broadcast. I apologize about that. Obviously, Thursday was Thanksgiving, so hope everyone had a very Merry Thanksgiving. Excellent food and company with family. Can't ask for much more than that. We'll go ahead and we'll get through your starting lineup here. Starting on pole is the 777 of Mr. Michael Pegg. To his outside is a 43 of Sandy Curtis. Starting third is the 79 of Mark Jackson, and the fourth is the 44 of Jacob Edson. Starting fifth is the number 9 of John Held. To his outside in sixth, the 19 of Ben Gear. Starting seventh is the 89 of Randolph Richard, and eighth will be the 24 of Jason Adams. Ninth is the 59 of Ralph Blair, and 10th, the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. 11th is the number 50 of Todd Willis. Starting 12th is the 00 of Thomas Holder. 13th is the 33 of Gary Ragland. Starting 14th is the 107 of Lee Ryerson Jr. Starting 15th is Joel Guy. 16th, we have the 129 of Kim Kraus, and 17th, and our final driver, number 2 of Chris Hogue. Pace car leads them through turn 3. These cars are going to have about 30 to 35 laps of fuel, so depending on how you stretch it, could just be a 2-stop race. But at the same time, tires here at Indianapolis so important. I think we're running the 2009 version. So if anyone remembers the 2008, 2009 Brickyard 400s, they were absolute cheese graters. So we'll keep an eye on how this all goes for everybody. Expect a lot of tire fall off, a lot of speed lost over a long run. This pace car is off and they're headed down the long front stretch. As we wait, green flag is out here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. About an even start from the front two, as they stay neck and neck. Person on the outside going to have to be very careful, especially on cold tires. Watching during practice, these cars were very unstable going through the corners. A lot of throttle control is going to be the name of the game here, as the 43 is able to edge out the 777 going down the back stretch. Sandy Curtis taking the lead. If he's able to hold it through turn 4, Sandy Curtis, your leader for lap 1. Jacob Edson already up to third. Mark Jackson in the 79 now in fourth. Sandy Curtis almost hits the wall, has to get out of the throttle a little bit. And it looks like Michael Pegg is going to be your leader here. Got a better exit going out of turn 4. Puts Sandy Curtis still right there to his outside. With Sandy Curtis right there, Michael doesn't have the room just in case that car steps out. But he's able to clear Sandy going through the short chute through turn 2. Michael Pegg out in front, the same position Sandy was in. Sandy this time will have that pull down the back stretch. Looks like Mark Jackson made a little bit of contact going into the outside wall, but everything seems to be all right. Everything stays together. So we have 44 of Jacob Edson here just watching and waiting. It's we were talking about it with the way these tires just fall off. You have to really gauge when you're going to pass someone. How soon do you want to fight? How long do you want to fight? And we saw that Sandy did not try and fight Michael too long. Once Michael had the inside going into turn 1 there on lap 2, he sort of just kind of slid back and let him go by. Too early for this kind of racing, so he's just riding now, letting Michael pull him along. And we can see pretty much for the most part the entire field is single filed out. The draft pull here is so powerful, so what we're going to expect to see is people primarily dive in the corners. The other thing we're going to be keeping an eye on with how these cars have been handling, especially what we're seeing in practice, we're going to be watching to see who gets loose, who's able to save it before they slap that outside wall. Yeah, some people already flirting with the outside wall at 24. Jason Adams here almost drills the wall going through the short chute there in between turns 1 and 2. Doesn't look like he made contact. We didn't see any of that smoke puff that you'd expect to see with the tire rubbing the wall. So he's probably okay. Watch the car go by. He's absolutely fine, but he is up a lane going through turn 3. So maybe he's thinking being up off that white line might help keep the car stable. We've really stretched out. Let's head back to our leaders here. Michael Pegg, Sandy Curtis, Jacob Edson, the 777, the 43, and the 44, just all running single file. Sort of biding their time. It's only lap 5. We can already see from the first flying lap to now, and it's only lap 5. Our first flying lap would have been lap 2. We've already dropped close to 0.4 of a second on time, and that's just going to get greater and greater and greater as the race goes on. Sometimes here in Lucky Dog, even though they can make it on just 2 stops, the strategy call has been to pit 3 times, get those extra tires, get those fresh tires, because you're going to be running that much faster there for a few laps. It's all about throttle control here. You got to make sure that you're lifting at the right point so that you're not, wearing out those rear tires. See, the 44 gets an excellent run on Sandy Curtis going into turn 3. Should have him cleared as he brings the 9 of John Held right up here into this fight. Sandy just letting Jacob Edson go by, trying not to overdrive the corners, and that's again kind of what we're talking about. We take a look back a little bit further. Ben Gear, Randolph Richard working together, tag team, and Jason Adams able to get by him. Jason looks like he may be thinking of trying to cut to the inside, thinks better of it. Randolph slides up the track a little bit. That's going to open the door for the 24 to stick his nose back up in there, but Randolph just slams the door on him. And that was your fight for 6th place. Head back to the lead. Jacob Edson looks like he might be under fire from the 43. The 43 feeling a little bit of pressure from the 9. As we were saying, their last time by, Michael Pegg's time last time was 52 seconds. His best time around was a 51.03, so almost a full second lost in time, and that's just in 8 laps. And so what one might think is if you cut this race into quarters and instead of thirds, you might be able to get a little bit extra time with those tires. But every time I've seen that happen myself, it's been an exceptionally close margin. Almost, you could flip a coin to decide who has the better strategy. Now, pitting more times obviously opens you up to more opportunities, speeding on pit road, either getting on pit road, getting off pit road, getting around, because you don't just hop right off pit road back up on the track here. You've got to rejoin on the back stretch, and that's a long drive that you have to make at a very slow rate of speed. Maybe what you end up doing is, spitting out down there on that really flat part of the track, just trying to get as much out of you as you can out of the car. Seen that happen. Little squiggle there from Jacob Edson in the 44. He keeps it together. Here we go. These 5 cars, Michael Pegg, Sandy Curtis, Jacob Edson, Mark Jackson, John Held, these 5 have just broken away from the pack. We are looking at over a second difference between Mark Jackson in 5th, and he himself 1.3 seconds back from our leader as Sandy Curtis goes for a pass on the 44. These 5 here broken away. There's 3 seconds between Mark Jackson and the 19 of Ben Gear trying to reel him. Sorry, my apologies. Jason Adams, who was able to get back past Randolph Richard and Ben Gear. He's 3 seconds back from Mark Jackson, so he's not going to get any draft pull there from that front pack. But the thing Jackson has, he's close enough that he's able to get the pull, but he's far enough back that he's not having his entire turn washed out by the cars in front of him. And so if you're in a fuel saving mode, and I don't think they really need to be, you're running an excellent spot. The other thing is you don't have to roll into these corners near as hard as, say, Michael Pegg does, being out here in front, want to keep everyone behind him. And even then, this top 5 is starting to spread out. There's already a decent-sized gap between Michael Pegg and Jacob Edson. That's a large enough gap that Michael doesn't have to worry about Jacob going for a dive on him. And even then, we take a look back a little further to 3rd with the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Sandy's far enough back from Jacob. Jacob can just focus on tackling the gap that is between him and Michael. And it's almost the exact same story between the 43 and the 9. But the 43 gets that excellent draft run down the back, brings him right back up to the back bumper of the 44, goes for a pass again. But the thing that Jacob has running that outside, he'll be able to get back at the throttle sooner than the 43. The 43 won't be able to slide out to the wall, and that's going to really hurt his momentum. And you see that just how it played out there with that. But this is what Michael Pegg wants to see. He wants these folks back here fighting, because that little bit of side-by-side action brought the 9 right back up to the rear bumper of the 43. And Michael wants him racing side-by-side, because he was only a 10th ahead of Jacob Edson there going into turn 3, and now it's turned into a 4/10 of a second gap. See, it's spread right back out. The 9 of Jacob Edson, sorry, the 9 of John Held dropped back just a little bit. Now a 0.4 second gap between him and Sandy Curtis. Still plenty close enough to get that draft run, and this is running nose to tail has allowed Jacob Edson to go ahead and get within 0.2 of Michael Pegg. And he's bringing Sandy right along with him. Oh, the 9 has a little bit of a wiggle. Doesn't hit the wall. Car looks like it's handling okay. Maybe just getting back in the throttle a little too quick. He's doing everything he can to keep up with these guys. Sandy Curtis has a thought of diving to the inside, thinks better of it, maybe trying to get the 44 to overdrive the corner. Jacob Edson, though, one very cool customer. One of the more difficult people to pass I've ever raced with. He's hard to pass, hard to hold off. He's just a very tenacious driver. So he continues to work on that gap between him and Michael Pegg down to 1/10 of a second. But he's got Sandy Curtis all over his rear bumper. Sandy gets a good run through 1. Jacob lets him have the bottom going through turn 2. We're saying if you got the momentum, man, go ahead. Sandy not able to clear, drops back in behind. Wasn't even in the right position, unfortunately, for him to do the side draft, maybe pull the 44 back a little bit going into turn 3. And again, just that little bit, Michael Pegg is able to go ahead and pull out, again, just a smidge. And it's just enough that it's keeping these two in second and third fighting each other while he doesn't have to deal with it. And so in the long run, you can expect that his tires are going to look absolutely beautiful in comparison to theirs with how hard they're racing each other. We'll go ahead and we'll take an opportunity to look a little further back. The 79 of Mark Jackson. Oh, looks like the 50 of Todd Willis, I think, may have smacked the wall. Off the pace a little bit going through turn 2. Lost a couple spots. All in all, looks like he's okay. That's going to hurt the aero of these cars. So long as he's able to stay in the draft, that should keep him up with the rest of the field. But that is going to prevent him from being able to get through turns the way exactly he wants to. Go ahead and focus on that car. You can see that right front fender is definitely a little bent. Not at all what Mr. Willis wants for his car as he gets by the 79 of Mark Jackson. I think maybe there might be a problem with this car, because he was running 5th. Looks like he may have made some contact with the outside wall, dropped him back down the field. His car definitely driving like it's hurt. If it's not hurt, then he's just in some pretty aggressive tire saving as he hits the grass a little bit there. Now that car is wounded. That right front is definitely damaged. So he just needs to hold on here until he gets right there in that pit window, and then pit as soon as he can get that fixed, as he is just hemorrhaging positions. That car is not driving fast at all. We'll do a little ride along. And the engine sounds fine, but right there to the right of your screen, if you look at the hood of the car, you can see the hood is rippled a little bit. And if we hop up to say the 43 of Sandy Curtis here, see that ripple is not there to the right side of the hood. So the 79 of Mark Jackson definitely dealing with an ill-handling race car. One of our faster cars in qualifying, one of the faster cars in practice. Hopefully he's able to hold on until that first caution or that first pit stop, whichever happens first. I know that he's definitely begging for a caution right now, but the way that everyone is just spread out. Take a look back at our top 3. Michael Pegg, Jacob Edson sort of checking out. Sandy Curtis tags the wall a little bit. Oh, the 9 of John Held hits the wall, same spot. Go ahead and we'll take a look at both of these cars. You can see, I don't see any damage to the 9, so it's probably just a slight scrape more with the rear than the front. I can think of worse places to have hit the wall with your car. So go up to the 43 of Sandy Curtis. He was running pretty hard there with Jacob and Michael. He's fallen back a little bit. Either he's really wore out that right front racing Jacob, or there's damage. I don't see any damage to that car, so there may have been wall contact, but if there was, it wasn't much. So we head back to our leader here. Michael Pegg just running his race, hitting his marks. Jacob Edson not really challenging too hard. This is what we've been seeing from Jacob this evening. He's just riding behind Michael. Take an opportunity. We'll go ahead and take a lap around the track here with we'll ride on board with the 19 of Ben Gear. Ben is our in-race camera this evening. We'll get an idea of what it's like going around here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, especially in this particular car handling as loose as it is. We'll go ahead and we'll do one whole lap with Ben here as he watches the three ahead of him racing pretty hard for position, trying to make. They were trying to break the draft. Things get a little squirrely for him. That's what we're talking about. It's all about throttle control, just that little bit, and that's what it sounded like. Just that little bit too much almost brought the car around. Saves it very well, keeps it off the wall. You can see how early they're lifting for the corner, doing as much as they can to roll the corner as much off the throttle as possible. You hear how long he's got to wait to get right back in the throttle here. Car being as loose as it is, you don't want to shear off that right rear getting in the throttle too early, and you don't want to shear off the right front going into the corner too hard. And Ben just taking his time to get around the track. He was racing around in practice and saw how slick the track is, how hard to control the car is. So he taps the wall a little bit there. Maybe a little bit of damage to the right rear. Front of the car looks okay. And a little bit of damage to the right rear. Nothing too crazy. That's not going to help the car's aero. It's definitely not going to tighten it up. But what it should do is make the car a little looser. And he's going to have to be careful with that as we continue on. We jump back to our leader. Not much having changed between Michael Pegg and Jacob Edson. The gap going from 0.2 to 0.4. And while just riding in Michael's tire tracks is useful, keeps Jacob up there, unfortunately, takes air off the front of that car. Going to have a little bit more tire wear than if he were running up front. But not being right up on Michael will help. Puts a little bit more air on the nose of that car, and that's what Jacob needs. But now Michael is getting pulled from the 91 of Joel Guy. Looks like he's running with some damage there on the right side, but Michael is just close enough that he's able to get a little bit of draft help from the 91, pulling him down the straightaways. Now, Joel being a stand-up guy, I mean, he's not going to try and race these guys as he goes a lap down. He'll let them by. We'll go ahead and drop back a little further to the 43 of Sandy Curtis. He's currently getting passed by the 79 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson just not able to drive that car with the damage anymore. Came down pit road, so he is a lap down. But this may end up being while as much as that damage may have hurt him, this may be a good thing for him. We don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out. As Michael Pegg's last time over the start-finish line was a 54-second lap. So we are 24 laps into this race, and we've already dropped a full 3 seconds of time on the track. So what we might see here from the 79 of Mark Jackson, and I'm going to keep a close eye on him, see how this pans out. His next time by should be a 51-second lap. That's 3 seconds faster than Michael. And you have to wonder, his tire wear versus Michael's tire wear, brand new tires versus old tires, is this going to work? Is he going to make up all the time that he lost by pitting that early? Because he still has to stop twice. Unless he can save a lot of fuel, he still has to pit twice. Are these fresh tires going to be the difference maker? We'll see how this pans out. This is the kind of strategy. Oh, as the 91 absolutely drills the wall. Saves it. Keeps it down low, allowing Sandy Curtis to go by. That was a hard lick to the outside wall. Very glad he didn't catch anybody else up with that. Unfortunate for him. Lucky for everybody else, but unfortunately for some folks, they were really hoping for a caution here, and they did not get it. So back to the 79, having very easily cleared the 777 and the 44. He's going to rock it off, and he's going to be bringing Michael Pegg with him, giving him that draft run, but him going around those two brought the 44 right up to Michael Pegg's rear bumper again. '79 here will enjoy a lot of clean air, and now Michael's going to have to deal with more dirty air than he's had to deal with all race, so hopefully everything sorts itself out. Go ahead and we'll see what the times are around this time. Michael should have a little bit better of a lap this lap, having the draft pull of Mark Jackson ahead of him. Now that last time, Mark Jackson running a 52.7, Michael Pegg running a 54.0. So Mark Jackson probably running not as hard as he can. He's running just fast enough that he's about 2 seconds faster than about a second faster than the leaders. Leaders here will be pitting probably within the next 6 to 8 laps. More than likely, try and cut this race into thirds. If he's able to make up 1 second per lap, that could translate into something. See, he's already built a sizable gap. This time by his lap about the same as it was last time. It's always interesting seeing different strategies going into effect. The interesting thing, the race between these two, which one is going to blink first? Which one is going to bring it down pit road? Michael can be a little bit of a sneaky character. Sometimes he does not mention when he's darting down pit road, try and take the person behind him off guard. And with him in the lead, if he can catch the 44 off guard, dart it down pit road, and make the 44 go another lap around on old tires, that'd be greatly to the benefit. So 43 is Sandy Curtis. Pounds the outside wall. Definitely damage on that car with as hard as he shot across the track. See damage to that right front there. Fortunately for him, he only has to last just another few laps before he brings it down pit road. So go ahead and we'll duck back a little further into the field. This is probably our largest collection of cars here. It's the 9 of John Held. We got the 59 of Ralph Blair, the lap down car 91 of Joel Guy. John Held and Ralph Blair just sort of riding, not taking things too hard. The great equalizer here is going to be green flag pit stops. Who's going to go first? This 59 gets a really good run out of turn 4. He's able to clear the 9. 9 probably just lifted and let him go. Not wanting to fight side by side. The more they fight side by side, the further away the top 3 are going to get. John recognizing Ralph might have a little bit faster car. Take a step back again. 24 of Jason Adams fighting for position with the number 19 of Ben Gear. This is your battle for 8th place. They were side by side coming out of turn 2. Have it sorted here. Looks like Jason has moved down a little bit further towards the inside line. Ben Gear following him, so they're not running a little bit higher. Say that, and then Jason runs 4 a little bit higher than he was in 3. With these two racing like this, it's allowing the 107 here of Ryerson Jr. to close in. He's just letting them run side by side as hard as they want. Looks like there may have been a little bit of a door rub there between the 24 and the 19 there going through turn 1, but they keep everything going straight. This is some good hard racing. This is probably the most intense race we have in the field right now. As Ryerson Jr. goes for a pass on Ben Gear, Ben just lets him by. Doesn't really try to go for the cutback on him. 24 running a very defensive line through turn 1. And that'd be why 24 wanted to make sure no one could get under him so he could come down pit road. Car wiggling all left and right as he tries to arrest his speed, so hopefully he did not get a ticket coming on to pit road. He's our second lead lap car to come down pit road. We got the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. He's on pit road just completing his service. We go ahead and we go to our leader, Michael Pegg, pulling Jacob Edson along with him. The 24 here getting the right sides replaced, so he's going to go a lap down. But we are just there at the beginning of our pit window, pitting on lap 32. He should be able to make the rest of the race in just one stop. Speaking of people making it to the end of the race in so many stops, the 79 of Mark Jackson here appears to have stalled out in his march forward away from the leaders. His last time by was a 54.0. That's only 0.3 faster than Michael Pegg this time, so he's still making time as he's bringing it down pit road. As is the 777 and the 44. Michael Pegg not able to catch Jacob Edson out, force him to go another lap. And so what that'll do is that'll give the lead to the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Oh, so we may have a caution. 59, oh, the 24 and the 50 get into it. 59 looks like maybe he missed pit road. Tell you who this is good news for is the 79 of Mark Jackson, because he was off pit strategy. We'll take a look at this, see how this happened. So Ralph Blair coming through turn 3, all comfortable. We know he's coming to pit road. It's like maybe too much rear brake, and when he hit the brake, it just hooked the car to the right. 24 darted down the track to avoid. Unfortunately, collected the 50. So we'll go ahead and we'll ride along inside with the car. We'll see what happened. I think that's pretty explanatory. And you see his wheel the entire time was turned to the left. Just hit the brakes and maybe a little bit too much. Just brought the car right around. We'll watch along with the 24. And he just caught the 50. Was Todd committed to pit road and he had to pull back out to not get black flagged? Todd was coming to pit road. Caution comes out. Pit road's closed, and that just brings him right into the path of the 24. Neither one of them really doing anything wrong, just Both of them making this right move at the exact same time, and unfortunately that brought them together. Both of them probably be using a fast repair to get their car fixed. See the 50 coming off pit road. As of right now, he scored in either the 4th or 5th position. Got a little bit of a discrepancy in my scoring here. I think it shows 5th here on the left side of your screen. So we'll say that's where he is. And who that's put in the lead is the 89 of Randolph Richard, 19 of Ben Gear, opting to stay out and maybe get a lap back. Looks like he pit just before that caution came out. So that'll put him back on the lead lap. But unfortunately, all right, so the 89 coming down pit road, and he's bringing the 44 and what looks like the 59 with him, as well as the 33, Gary Ragland. So that'll put Michael Pegg in the 777 back in the lead. I was about to say, unfortunately for the 79 of Mark Jackson, looks like when he came down pit road, Sandy Curtis had passed him and put him a lap down again before that caution came out. So he unfortunately not able to get back on the lead lap. It's unfortunate for Mr. Jackson. And this will be an interesting run here because this is going to put John Held in the 9 second. Last on pit road 6 laps ago. So he's probably has just a few green flag laps on those tires. Michael Pegg, though, does not. So he was able to take his service because he was already on pit road when that caution came out. We got the 50 of Todd Willis behind them in 3rd. 89 of Randolph Richard came off pit road. Should be restarting 4th? Am I looking at this right? No. 107 of Lee Jr. is 4th. 43 of Sandy Curtis is 5th. That's your top 5. I have to fix my scoring. Lights out on the pace car brings us through turn 4. Pace car is off. And green flag is out. Huge gap between the 9 and the 107. John Held, though, gets just as good a start as Michael Pegg does. Michael Pegg, though, able to clear him going through turn 1. John Held able to keep it just in front of Todd Willis in the 50. Sandy Curtis back in 4th, already looking to advance his position, looking to the bottom of the 50, going through those corners. Oh, caution, caution. 24, 91, 44. Not at all what we want to see. We'll go back and we'll start watching from the turn 1. Everyone's got everything straight here. .107 doesn't protect the bottom. 79's to his outside. 24 comes up the track. They're on corner exit. Go ahead and we'll get a little better look at this. .24 is able to sneak that nose in there. Catches a bunch of innocent cars. right along with the 19 of Ben Gear. So I think he saw all of this happen right in front of him. Three wide there. 24 comes up the track, across the 107. Nowhere for Ben to go. Watch it one more time from our friend the Chopper. I mean, the 107 definitely didn't give the 24 any room coming off the corner. Maybe the 107 comes down a little, but the 24 definitely going up the track, which is what you'd expect to do there. The 107 trying to keep it off the 79, not realizing how much room that maybe he actually had. Unfortunate. It's a fair few cars having to bring it down pit road to repair damage. The 89, 24, 91. .107 still missing a front bumper. Got to wonder if maybe either pit road's not open or if, I mean, hopefully he still has a fast repair to get that fixed. Otherwise, he is in for a miserable 40 laps. '79 of Mark Jackson, though, is the person this caution benefits, gets him back on the lead lap. Remember, we were talking about how he was off pit cycle and unfortunately got lapped by the 43 just before that first caution came out, so should be right back in it. One of the faster cars in practice. Will be good to see him back on the lead lap fighting for the win. And it appears unfortunate, the 44, Jacob Edson, showing 2 laps down. Maybe he had to take a tow. And that'll unfortunately probably be his race, which is a shame because he was definitely the guy who was taking it to Michael Pegg the most. Correction, it appears that Mr. Jacob Edson has opted to retire from the event. Very unfortunate. Definitely one of our faster cars this evening. Just horrible, horrible luck for him. So our top 5 is the 777 of Michael Pegg, the 9 of John Held, the 50 of Todd Willis, the 43 of Sandy Curtis, and the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. We have a little bit of a shakeup here in the top 5. Michael Pegg and John Held still out here in front. Cars with the freshest tires, though, back in 11th is the 19 of Ben Gear and 9th, the 107 of Lee Ryerson Jr. So we'll keep an eye on these 2 cars. Unfortunately, a 19 might not matter too much that he's got a little bit of fresher tires. That front end absolutely destroyed. Pace car will be ducking off this time by. See if the 9 can get a little bit of a better restart here All restarts in Lucky Dog are on green, so it's whoever sees that green light first and is able to get in the throttle first. Green flag is out. Sandy Curtis gives a shot to the 9. Looked like maybe he didn't get as good a start as he did last time, but that push from the 43 definitely seemed to help. Michael still clears. John able to keep it out ahead of the 50. Michael out ahead commandingly. The 50 and the 43, though, running here side by side. For advantage to the 43, he's got the draft pull of the 9, but the 50 is able to give him just enough of a side draft that he barely clears him here before corner entry, enough that Sandy chooses to give him some extra track, just in case it may be expecting that dive bomb to coming. There's a 52 under attack from the 79. It's good to see Mark Jackson back taking it to folks, going to get as much as he can. Something going on here. 89. 107 coming down pit road. Go back and take a look at this real quick. Just coming off the track, headed down pit road. Not certain what the plan is there, but keep an eye on it. So head back to the front. Michael Pegg still out ahead. Lee Ryerson Jr. fighting with everything he's got. Sorry, Mark Jackson fighting with everything he's got there around 33. Gary Ragland was able to monster past him. Jackson just letting him by. And unfortunately, what this has done is this has separated them from our top 5 just a little bit. But now that he's not racing other people for position, Gary Ragland might be able to track down Whitmer Sr. Just sort of riding here in 5th. So take a look a little further ahead. 43 is Sandy Curtis doing to the 9 of John Held what he was doing to Jacob Edson earlier. Oh, looks like 33 may have had a little bit of an issue. Hit the wall, came down the track, keeps it on the access road. No caution. So he brings it down pit road. Right along with your leader, Michael Pegg. Very commanding lead he's currently sitting in. Hop back to 52 of Gary Seniors. He's watching the fight between the 50 and the 9. 50, the 9, the 43, all 3 of them right there under a blanket, trying to track down Michael Pegg. Running nose to tail right now. 43 absolutely all over the 9. Maybe giving a little bump draft there, going down the backstretch a little bit through the short chute. Always nice to see John Andretti throwback running out front. Very nice drive from Sandy Curtis this evening. Going for had a little bit of a draft run, just enough that he's able to get alongside the 9 of John Held. Not quite door to door, but he's got the nose there. Gets it down into the corner, slides up the track a little bit, has to keep it off the 9 of John. John pinching him a little bit, and that's going to bring him into the clutches of the 50 of Todd Willis. Todd Willis hanging there on the outside, stopping Sandy from getting the kind of run that he wants. Not only does he have the run, but he's also got the pull from the 9, drops Sandy back to 4th place. And they'll be right back at it, but you know, we mentioned it before, we'll mention it again. The person who loves seeing this behind him, this guy right here, Michael Pegg, go ahead and fight each other. The longer you fight each other, the better my tires are going to look. So I've had a few more people opt to retire from the race this evening. Randolph Richard, Gary Ragland, and Jason Adams, unfortunately, not having the night they were hoping for. Just pulled the cars behind the wall and decided, enough is enough. It's very unfortunate. Several of those guys were very fast this evening, just caught up in some stuff that maybe wasn't exactly their fault. Thank them for running with us. Hope they have a fantastic rest of their evening. Truly, guys, we love you. We continue on with this fight here for second place, this three-way fight for second place. Each one of these guys just waiting for the guy in front of them to make a mistake. John Held not really altering too much what he's doing. He's just wanting the two behind him. Form up, guys. Give me a push. We'll go catch Michael Pegg. Todd Willis fires it out on the outside, opening the door for the 43, Sandy Curtis. Sandy goes through, unfortunately not able to get the run anywhere near that he needs to be able to clear him. Falls back in line. And that has separated these guys from Michael Pegg almost a second and a half. 1.3 seconds, 1.4 now is what separates the leader from second place. And it's only getting larger. Second and a half now. And unfortunately for John Held, that puts him just outside of a usable draft. These cars only really pick up a tow from the car in front of them at between 1.3 and 1.5 seconds at the furthest, depending on the track. And if you can't get the tow from the guy ahead of you, you are entirely dependent on the guy behind you to get you up there. And John, unfortunately, just watching the leader drive away as the 50 and the 43 fight. They're fighting exceptionally hard for this third position. And what this is doing, this is really tearing their tires up. Sandy's got a shallow entrance and a shallow exit to every single corner, it looks like, this lap. And that's really going to chew up the right side. But you got the 50 hanging around on the outside with how he's having to run. That's really going to wear out that right rear, depending on how he's driving. So Sandy over here getting tight. Todd over here more than likely getting looser and looser. And that's letting the 9 of John Held pull away from him. But even more so, that 777 is just getting smaller. John Held there had a better turn 3 than Michael Pegg did. Michael Pegg opens it back up in turn 4. It's like Michael's maybe backing up turn 1 and turn 3 to maximize his exit speed for 2 and 4. So we are halfway. John Held gained so much time on the going through turn 1 and then just loses it all going through turn 2. Two seconds now separating first and second. Sandy Curtis having fallen off a little bit from the 50 of Todd Willis. Not much, but just enough. Todd's able to get to the back bumper of the 9. You gotta wonder, is Todd going to try and go for a pass on John? Is he going to push John? It's like 9, sorry, not the 50. Swung up a little high. Look up, that took a little bit of air off the 43. Put the 43 little brush with the wall. Everything looks okay. Everyone's still going straight. 2.2 seconds John Held to Michael Pegg. But what he needs that 50 to get to his back bumper on the exit of turn 2 and shove him down the backstretch. likewise, the exact same thing on the front stretch. Just hook right up with him there at the exit of turn 4. It doesn't look like that's what's happening. The 50 going for a pass on the 9, taking the 43 with him. John Held losing 2 positions in 1 turn. Thinking maybe, hey, if you guys don't work with me, maybe you'll let me work with you and we can get up there. We'll see how he plays this. Take a look back again. Just go ahead and examine this gap, watching here from the wide angle camera, and you can see Michael's going into turn 2 when they're coming out of turn 1. That is an absolutely monster lead that he's been able to pull out since that caution. Just letting these 3 fight each other as hard as they can. Michael definitely the car to beat this evening, Indianapolis being one of his best tracks on the entire circuit. Unfortunately, missing the 78 of Gary Sapinski and the 429 of Paul Witt this evening. Those 2 probably the biggest threats outside of Jacob Edson, who unfortunately has retired from the event. Those 2 would have been the next 2 I would have bet would have been able to take it to Michael lap after lap here. As we scan back, second place, Todd Willis has put a little bit of a gap, about a half a second between him and Sandy Curtis, and we know just from the way the draft one works here, that's nothing. Sandy can make that up on a straightaway well, a couple straightaways fairly easily. 9 to John Held, just backing off a little bit, just running. Probably noticed these 2 not wanting to work together so much as they want to make position. This, unfortunately, not the wrong word. This is probably not the boat you want to find yourself in. Because if you're John Held, you're sitting 3 seconds back from Michael Pegg. And if you're sitting this far back, Michael pits, you can't afford to go another lap because you're just going to hemorrhage more time. But at the same time, you can't pit the same lap he does. We'll be looking at pit stops here, probably around between lap 63. And that might be pushing it up to lap 70 if they can make it. But if you pit earlier, your tires are going to wear out before Michael's do. And you got to wonder, can you make up 3 seconds before he comes down pit road and then maintain it? Fastest car on the track currently, though, that would go to actually the 43 here. Sandy Curtis, last time by, Sandy 0.3 faster than Michael Pegg. That's because he's got that pull there from the 50 of Todd Willis. John Held only a 10th off of Sandy Curtis. The amazing thing, 50 of Todd Willis, 0.2 faster than Michael their last time by. We'll see what it looks like this time. But if he's able to track down Michael at one point had a 2.5 second lead. It's only 1.9 now. Michael realizing what's happening, adding a little extra gas. He was 2/100ths faster than our second place driver that time. When these tires start getting real old here at Indianapolis, I mean, if you thought Michael was alive early and able to pull out, once just pull out, 3 seconds ahead of the field, once these tires really start wearing out and everyone's starting to baby their car, it seems like that's just when Michael's car finally comes in to its full potential. So he only looks like he's running just as hard as he has to keep that 2-second gap between him and Todd Willis, and that'll keep Todd from getting any kind of pull from the 777. He doesn't want to make Todd's life easy. So he has almost a full corner gap on the 50, who's managed himself to get about a 7/8 gap between himself and the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Now, something happened with the 9. 9 getting passed by the 59 of Ralph Blair in fairly commanding fashion. Maybe a little bit of damage there on that right front. Did he make contact? We'll ride along with him. You can see a little bit of ripple there in the hood. So maybe a little bit of damage. Hopefully, if the car is damaged, hopefully John's able to manage that. We'll go ahead and do a through the field, talk a little bit about each drivers. We'll start here with first, 777 of Michael Pegg. Qualified first, currently running first. Michael absolutely dominating this race, having led all but maybe 3 laps, and those were due to pit cycle and caution. Absolutely driving away from the field. Fairly commanding lead from Michael. Putting on a clinic. We'll go ahead and we'll hop back to our second place, the 50 of Todd Willis. Todd started 11th, currently running second. Excellent drive from Todd. Only 1 lap fresher tires than Michael Pegg, so they're about even on their strategy there. Fought pretty hard with the 43 and the 9 there for several laps, and I bet that's probably just worn out his stuff a little bit more than he would like. So we'll see under these next round of green flag stops, which should be starting here and within the next 5 or so laps. See how, if at all, he's able to make up time. Back to third is the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Sandy started second, running third. Sandy's had a little bit of an up and down night. Been towards the front most of the evening. Been one of our top 5 contenders for just about all 61 laps. Couple times he fell out, but it's found his way back to the front each time. It was a good run for Sandy Curtis. We'll drop back to the 59 of Ralph Blair. Running here in the 6th position. He's only 2/10 off. Sorry, my apologies. This is last time. Sorry, 4th. I need to look at the right one. 4th of Ralph Blair. Started 9th. Running 4th. Last time he was on pit road 27 laps ago, just took fuel. I think he's one of the people who double pitted under that last caution just to maybe stretch the fuel just that little bit further. And since we had 2 cautions back to back, that's not necessarily a bad idea, but with the way everything is strung out, I don't know that extra bit of fuel is going to help. More than likely it'll put him on the same fuel strategy as everyone else, but if someone's able to, and I would never wish this on anyone, loop it coming off pit road back on the track, bring out a caution, that would be work amazing in his favor. Everyone in this race, though, usually pretty good exiting pit road, so I don't think we're going to have an issue there. As we go ahead and we drop back to 6th with the 79 of Mark Jackson. Started 3rd, tags the wall a little bit there. Hopefully it doesn't affect the handling of his car too much. Was a lap down, unlapped himself under green, then got put a lap down just before that first caution came out. He's still in this race, and it's been a nice recovery drive from him. He was running up front fairly commandingly, and under that last restart, he was doing everything he could to get back to the front. He got up to almost the 5th position, and I guess just used up way too much of his stuff way too early. Back in 6th, he's pretty much been sitting here since 2 laps after the restart. Just sort of riding. He's come under fire from our 7th place driver, the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. Thinking maybe that he wants to try along the outside, hits the wall, keeps it going straight, saves the car. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Didn't look like he pounded the outside wall, maybe rode it a little bit. Don't know how much damage that's going to give the 52. Now you can see some damage to the right front there. Hood's rippled a little bit. That's going to affect the handling of his car. Fortunately for him, not going to have to wait too long to bring it down pit road. You can pit, I think I was hearing that they have about 35 laps of fuel. If he can take it around 1, maybe 2 more times and then come down pit road, he should be good to make it the rest of the way. As we go ahead and we take a look back again to the 8th place driver, the 19 of Ben Gear. Our in-car camera this evening. Now we've definitely seen prettier cars. Ben caught up in a few incidents. Definitely not his fault. It sucks when you see that happen, but keeping it in there, running on the lead lap. I mean, even he's about a 1.5 seconds off the pace, but a 1.5 seconds off the pace, he should still be able to finish here on the lead lap. So take an opportunity to recognize the tenacity of Ben Gear. Hopefully we get to, hopefully over this next round of pit stops, go his way. He's able to get that car fixed and make a charge toward the front. We'll keep an eye on that. So our first lap down car will be the 107, Lee Ryerson Jr. He came down pit road with Gary Ragland about 25 laps ago. I think it was Gary Ragland. No, it was Randolph Richard. My apologies. He came down with Randolph Richards, and not certain exactly why. He's a lap down. Strong run, definitely one of the faster cars this evening. Wonder if maybe he was hoping for a caution or thinking another one was going to come out. Coming down pit road would give him the opportunity to leapfrog ahead of everybody. Unfortunately, we just have not had another one for him. Go to our 10th place car, the 91 of Joel Guy. So unfortunately, it looks like he's missing a rear bumper. Indianapolis does not seem to, like, I've raced with Lucky Dog for several seasons. Indianapolis just never seems to be a particularly nice track to the 91 of Joel. As he hits the wall, keeps it straight. Like, we have pit stops starting. 91 came down and away. Sorry, 19 down and away. That front end fixed. He did have a quick repair in the bank. See how much time he's able to make up on our leader. We also saw the 59 coming down pit road for service, 4 tires and fuel. That leads us to wonder how long is our leader, Michael Pegg, going to stay out. Pit stops have already started. You can make it from here fairly easily. Not coming down pit road this time. 35 laps on this run of fuel, coming to 36 laps. whole bunch of people having come down pit road. 59 of Ralph Blair, the 9 of John Held came down pit road just a couple laps ago. He's reeling Michael Pegg back in, doing what he can to get as far up forward as he possibly can. He's currently running about 2 seconds a lap faster. 79 down pit road to get service. 43 on pit road getting service. So what that does is that leaves 3 cars so far. The 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. still out running in third. The 50 of Todd Willis, though, I was going to mention he was still out, but he brought it down pit road this time. Looks like he may have had a problem. He parked it, got out of it. Michael Pegg still out front, the number 9, successfully unlapping himself. 43, Sandy Curtis just come off pit road. He'll be going by the 777 of Michael Pegg. So we'll keep an eye on Michael here. How long does he want to run out here? He's got to be close to running on fumes. He's a little bit slow through turn 4, bringing down pit road this time. It is a long pit road. It is a long, slow pit road here at Indianapolis. So we're going to see a whole bunch of people get their lap back. Starting with the 59 of Ralph Blair. The 9, the 43, 59 of Ralph Blair. It'll be the 19 of Ben Gear getting his lap back. 79 of Mark Jackson back on the lead lap. 107. It's about everyone who was on the lead lap before back on the lead lap now. So we'll go back to Michael Pegg just wrapping up his service. And this will be the thing to watch. How close is the 9 able to get? Michael Pegg is about halfway through the access road just as John Held gets through turn 1. Through the short chute. Through turn 2. Made up quite a bit of time, but not as much as maybe he was hoping for. Still almost 4 seconds separating Michael Pegg and John Held. John pit about 6 laps ago. Something up, 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. having completed his service. Back in 8th place after all of that. But will have the freshest tires in the field. And unfortunately for John, I mean, we noticed early in the race that there's a lot of fall off early in a run. John's already seen a second of fall off since he came down pit road. We also talked about that a little bit earlier. Pitting sooner than the leader, you're going to be able to turn faster laps sooner, but at the same time, by the time he comes down pit road, you may have already lost your tire advantage, and he's just going to claw that back. And Michael did not have a problem keeping it out front, already stretched his lead back out to a full 4.2 seconds. Just running his race. But that did allow John Held to leapfrog Sandy Curtis, who was racing pretty hard with earlier in that second run. Sandy's tire is a little bit fresher than John's. We'll see how long John's able to hold Sandy off. John going for a wider arc going into turn 3. Trying to save as much of his tires as he can, but he sees the dive bomb from the 43, moves up the track a little bit. Immediately tucks in behind the 43 to get that toe. Now they start the effort to reel in Michael Pegg, who just in that tiny little bit of fighting managed to make his lead 5 seconds. We'll go ahead and do the right along the rear bumper of Michael Pegg. You can see they are just dots in his rear view. So go back and we take another look at the 9 and the 43. 9's fallen off the back of the 43 about a half second. Sandy just showing a lot of speed this evening. Their last time by 4 100ths faster than Michael Pegg, but unfortunately at that sort of closing rate, I don't think he's going to be able to catch Michael in time. The 107 back on pit road. Sorry, finally coming down pit road. It's been 33 laps since he was on pit road. So this will be his final stop. Unfortunately, that'll put him lap down. In 7th place, Gary Whitmer Sr. Only about a straightaway separating him and Michael. Fortunately for him, he's running a little bit faster than Michael. 1 lap fresher tires. He was a half a second faster than Michael this lap, but that's the great thing about being in front with the lead you've got. You don't have to run. You're just trying not to make a mistake. You're letting everyone behind you make all the mistakes for you, because they're forced to run as hard as they can to try and track you down, and all you have to do is maintain a decent gap. That's definitely what's happening. The 9 losing ground of the 43, falling closer and closer to the 59 of Ralph Blair. Ralph, again, our 5th place starter. Sorry, 9th place starter, currently running 4th. He's eyeing that 3rd place position. We'll go ahead and we'll watch this for a little bit. We'll go ahead and pull one of our drivers up here into the booth. We're going to pull the 19 of Ben Gear. Ben, there's William in the booth. You got me? Hey, Ben, how's your day? I'm going to go ahead now. How's your night been? Watched you do quite almost a full fuel stint with almost no front end on your car. Managed to keep from going a lap down. Phenomenal job driving there. How long have you been holding on to that fast repair?
I had to use the last one, this last pit stop, but the car actually feels pretty good.
I mean, it's been a fun race to watch from up here, you know, listening to you guys in practice talking about how loose the car was. As the run goes on, if you find the car gets looser, or does it tighten up?
I've noticed that it gets tighter. I'm having to drive up into the corner a little bit deeper and get on the brake a little bit more than what I have been to get it to turn, but it's I'm surprised that she's telling me that I was missing a front end. I didn't think I was.
Well, I mean, it's So I'm watching the iRacing here on the broadcast computer, but I have it up on another monitor over here, and on the broadcast computer, you had a front bumper, and then you didn't have a front bumper, and then I looked over at my computer, and your bumper looked fine, so I'm like, I'm just going to go with what I see on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's crazy. I kind of lost it coming into the pits on the first pit stop, and then they had that wreck on the backstretch, and I ended up stuffing my front of my car up underneath Joel's rear end, messed the front up, and I just kind of bide my time here, seeing where I finish.
Were you able to keep it on the lead lap all night? It's been, I mean, with that damage, that if I'd had that damage, I'd have been 3 laps down. So it's been a phenomenal job driving you've been doing tonight.
I appreciate it. It didn't feel, I mean, I only felt that it was maybe half a second off from everybody else. So maybe maybe not having a front end made me faster.
Hey, certainly your car weighs less.
That's right. Not so much has to go through the air.
Pretty much. No, and it's unfortunately things getting really, really stretched out. Everyone can, I think, make it from here.
Oh yeah, I can make it. I think everybody pitted. I waited till they get in their fuel window and could make it. And that would just be nice if the yellow came out.
Trust me, I'm not hoping there's going to be one, but it would definitely amp up the excitement here in the last 20 laps. I would not wish a caution on anybody.
Yeah, Michael's got a pretty dominant car tonight, so.
Well, it was nice talking to you, Ben. Thank you for coming up and talking with me. I'll let you get back to your race.
Sure, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one, William.
As the 19 of Ben Gear, our in-car camera, graciously allowing me to talk to him in the middle of his race. So head back to our leader, Michael Pegg. 7.5 seconds. Almost, looks like it's climbing up towards 8 fairly rapidly, separating him from the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Sandy Curtis just riding at this point. Michael, as Ben mentioned, just so dominant this evening. Sandy just fighting to maintain 7 seconds between him and the 59 of Ralph Blair, who was able to get past the 9 of John Held while we were talking to Ben there. John just not having the run tonight that maybe he wanted. Started 5th, running 4th, so he's up 1 position from where he qualified. Looks like our biggest mover tonight, though, definitely be the 59 of Ralph Blair. Started 9th, running 3rd, up 6th position. Just running his race, seeing what else may happen. As we go back over here to the 52, Gary Whitmer Sr., our last car on the lead lap, still maintaining a fairly decent distance between him and Michael Pegg, running just a little bit faster each lap. So he's going to stay on the lead lap as long as nothing happens to his car. Last time he came down pit road was about 13 laps ago, so he definitely has more than enough fuel to make it to the end of this race. Just keep his car in one piece and he'll be doing all right. So again, we hop up to the 79 of Mark Jackson, our 3rd place starter, running 5th. Has had a very good recovery drive this evening. Unfortunately, not the long run speed that we were seeing maybe a little bit earlier before he got that damage in that first stint. He definitely did a lot of fighting to get himself back up in the top 5, where we see him running now. Michael Pegg's lead now sitting over 9 seconds. It's been 15 laps since he came down pit road, and he's only dropped 2 seconds in time, whereas the second place dropped 2.8 seconds. Third place dropped over 3 on very similarly aged tires. That's the benefit of, clearing that outside before the exit of turn 1 there on that restart, being able to get out ahead, not having to worry about dirty air. Absolute rocket ship tonight as his lead hits 10 seconds. Not entirely certain what Ralph Blair is doing. He loses a lot of time in certain portions of the track, and then he makes up a bunch of time in other portions of the track, 17 seconds back. But then he hits a straightaway and absolutely monsters into, just eating into Michael's lead. Almost like he's really letting up going into the corners, and that's where he's giving up his time, and then he makes up a bunch of his time coming out of the corners down the straightaways. I think, though, he's might be giving up more time on corner entry than he makes up on the straights. Hear all that off-throttle time Michael Pegg has going through the corners. You see, you heard there going through turn 4 him feather that throttle just a little bit, just enough to keep the car turning to the left. Super easy on the throttle coming out of 1. Back off it right here going into 2. You hear him give it just that little bit of throttle in the middle of the corner, make sure it can keep turning. Clear out back. It's right on the nose cam. That car ahead of him, that's the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. We were thinking that he was going to be absolutely fine, be able to stay out there ahead of Michael, but his lap time is absolutely dropped off. He is a second a lap slower than Michael currently here with 10 laps to go. Gary hanging in there, just trying to get the best finish he can running there in the 7th position. Michael really closing in on him. Not that he needs it, but about to pick up a little bit of a draft pull from the 52. If we thought he was building a lead before, that pull is going to help even more. Take a step back to the 43 here. Sandy Curtis heading through the short chute between turns 3 and 4. Here he's coming off of turn 4, just as our leader going into turn 1. And that really illustrates how big an 11-second lead is here at Indianapolis. That is from one corner to the other there on those long straights. And that is an almost insurmountable lead unless something happens to Michael's car. Don't think anything will, though. This has probably been the smoothest driver all night. If we go ahead and we take a look, right along with that right front suspension, you see how that right front wheel well looks absolutely beautiful. Michael expertly keeping it off the wall all night long. Take a second, drop back to the 3rd place of Ralph Blair. Ralph Blair just running just as fast as he needs to maintain this 3rd place. He's already pulled out about 9 seconds ahead of John Held. My math might be a little off, 8 or 9 seconds, somewhere in that ballpark. Go ahead and ride along with John. And there you can hear the difference in driving styles. John Held there, not feathering the throttle going through the corner, just really easing off of it and then easing really lightly back on. But it looks like he's having to put a lot more wheel in it than Michael Pegg's been having to, so you almost got to wonder how worn that right front is. We slide right out to the wall. That right front tire, that is someone who's definitely fighting a tight race car. He's got an excellent entry to turns 1 and 3. Struggling maybe with turns 2 and 4. Like the car got a little loose there on him. Overall, very nice run for John Held. Unfortunately for him, though, you can definitely tell that he's not maybe having the best night. He's currently running a second slower than your 5th place driver of Mark Jackson. Almost tags the wall there. Here we have 5 laps to go. There's about a 5-second gap between the 79 and the 9. 4 seconds now, so Mark Jackson may be able to track down the 9 of John Held, take that 4th position. We will see John Held's last time around, the 56-second lap. That's a lot of fall off. Mark Jackson, though, not having the best lap that time, running a 55.8. Not certain if he'll be able to catch him, but we'll keep an eye on that as we go through the last few laps here. Michael Pegg just maintaining that 11-second lead that he has built up very nice. Car in the wall, looked like the 52. Gary Sr. keeps it straight. A lot of damage to the right side of that car. With only a few laps to go, though, doesn't have to deal with it too much longer. Like that car got loose a little bit on him, just snapped him into the wall. So head back to our leader. Should be picking up 2 to go this time by. Yep, 2 to go. We'll go ahead and we'll hop a little bit back, take a look. 79 really closing in on John Held, only 2 seconds separating the two. And this will be the battle for 4th place. Mark Jackson able to get back into form, running a second faster than the 9. Does he have enough time? If he's able to get there and make this pass, it'll probably be a last lap, last corner pass. Michael Pegg comes through turn 4. He'll be taking the white flag as he's tracking down the 19 of Ben Gear. He probably won't get him to put him a lap down. But Michael's 13 seconds ahead of second place. Go ahead and we'll take a look. We'll watch this. We'll watch this fight here. These two now within a second of each other. Michael Pegg behind them, going through the short chute of 3 and 4. 9 trying to break that draft with the 79. Force the 9 to go around the outside. We'll cut away from this. It's a 777 of Michael Pegg on his last lap. Comes down the front stretch. Michael's going to win here at Indianapolis. Second will be the 43, Sandy Curtis. He comes out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Give third to the 59 of Ralph Blair. John Held able to hold. Don't think it's updated yet. John Held showing his 4th. But the 79 was able to pass him. Our scoring just probably hasn't updated yet, but that should be Mark Jackson to 4th. Yes, John Held in the 9 will be your 5th place finisher. So close to holding him off. Your leader, Michael Pegg, burns it down.
That probably hurt me.
Yeah.
Oh well, still good run. Long one.
Hey, I'll give you. Do you want me to give you a call in about 15 minutes or so?
Who, me?
Yeah. Then you can tell me about what's going down.
Oh no, we'll chat some other night. It's not a big deal. I just got a job interview for that race place.
It is a big deal, man.
Well, it could be. I mean, it went well, so we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping I can get a place to work on my race car and cheap parts, and get paid to do it.
Yeah. But you've been with the other place for years, haven't you? Napa?
15.
It's a big step to walk away from that to start something new, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to step in real quick, guys. I need to move my top 3 to the tower, and I didn't want to do that in the middle of a conversation. I'm sorry.
Not take them. All right, see you guys.
See what.
Be back in a minute.
Man, got taken out last week. Got taken out this week. Battled back, but I mean, I guess still an eighth. But man,
I still can't get.
Actually, I liked it better on the long run. The problem I had was, I don't know, it was probably lap 15 or 16. Me and Jacob got into it, and that gave me front end damage. So once I didn't have that draft down the straightaways, I didn't have the speed, but I didn't fix it on that first pit stop. I just let them hammer it out, but it didn't do good enough. So that last stop, I used it. But I was worried about Ralph because he was always running me down at the end of the runs. But now that I had my car fixed, I was watching the times there, and I could keep pulling on him for the rest of it. So felt pretty comfortable. I just wanted to hold second there. No way I was going to catch Michael. He was too far out front.
Well, you did an excellent job. I mean, the way you were racing, John held earlier, and then just how you were able to really build that lead on him and Ralph, not have to worry about it. I mean, you were up in the front, top 5 for most of the night, and seemed like in any racing situation, you just seemed to come out on top with some of those other guys. So it was some excellent car control watching you this evening.
Yeah, thanks. This I haven't done too good so far this season. I always seem to get up by the front, but something happens. Either I do it or get involved in somebody else's problems. But yeah, this is my first good finish this season so far. So looking for more. I was hoping for Michigan, but that didn't happen. So good win, though, to Michael for sure. He earned it. I try to race hard with him in the first couple of laps there because if you got that air on the nose, you're golden.
Well, Sandy, it was good talking to you. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. You do a great job, William. I'd like to thank Lucky Dog for putting up all these races for us. And I'd like to thank the wife to let me come down and play with the boys.
Well, it was a good race. Good talking to you, Sandy. We'll hopefully talk to you next time.
Yeah, hopefully. Take care, buddy. Good casting.
Thank you. And so we have our leader, the 777 of Michael Pegg. Michael, this is William. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Dominant performance tonight. Started first. I think you led all but maybe 5 laps tonight. Brought it home first with I think it was a 12-second lead over second place. Absolutely commanding finish.
The setup was great tonight. Yeah, it was on the loose side, so you had to be careful.
I mean, the longer the race seemed to go on, especially a green flag run, the more your car seemed to come in compared to everyone else. It looked like you were maybe fighting the loose condition, and definitely didn't seem to be fighting a tight condition. Even on those long runs. I mean, was that just the benefit of clean air, or were you just able to really figure out where your corner entry mark was?
Yeah, just lifting in the corners. That last tire wear was 69.82 on the right. It was pretty much the same before that. And then the first set, I pretty much chomped on that. But yeah, the tire wear was pretty good tonight. It was a good setup. This guys race hard, man. Sandy raced hard tonight. John did, a bunch of them. I hate Jacob got taken out. He was right there. He was pushing me. He was really strong tonight.
Yeah, it was unfortunate when we saw a lot of people not quite have the night that we were hoping they would have. I mean, you and Jacob Edson were working really, really well together earlier on in that race. I was looking forward to seeing you two fight it out there at the end.
I was really worried about it. I said, man, if he hangs on to me all the way at the end, he's tough, man. Jacob just not back down. He's a fighter. That's why he's the champion last season.
Yep, unfortunately, just got caught up in some stuff, not of his own fault. So we hope to see him next race. But I know you've done a lot of practice here at Indianapolis. Any chance you're going to give some lessons to the rest of the league?
I would love to, yeah. I want to get them where they're all competitive and all can race, and no cautions come out, and everybody's having a great time. Love to.
Well, here you go, guys. If you want lessons on Indianapolis, just hit up Michael.
You're pretty good here yourself. Last time we tangled here, you got me. I could not figure out how to turn that car.
I think the last time we were fighting here, we were fighting a very tight race car, and we all know I love tight race cars.
Oh my God, yeah, it was brutal, but it was a great race. Great race tonight, guys. Really did good.
Well, things about time. We probably wrap things up. Anyone you want to thank before we head out here?
Yeah, I want to thank all the Lucky Dog members for coming out tonight. All the people that watch. I want to thank God himself. I want to thank all the regulators. I want to thank you, William, for broadcasting, the Lucky Dog broadcasting. I want to thank Tracy, Molly, and Cash. And that's pretty much it. And take care of Brian. Hats off to Brian for doing what he does. And Thomas tonight for being in the tower with him. And then Gary had some family issues tonight, so he was out. But hats off to everybody, and God bless everybody.
Well, thank you, Michael. Fantastic win, and maybe we'll talk to you next time.
Good, buddy. See you, man.
And that is it for us this evening, folks. Excellent race from everyone involved. Hope you had as much fun as we did, and you have a wonderful rest of your night, and we'll see you Thursday for Lucky Dog Trucks. Same time, same channel. We'll see you then. All right. Bye.